Sports Network. My name is Max Calderon, and this is Chris Beasley. We're so glad you've joined us today for episode 3. A little bit of a thin week in sports, but nevertheless, still got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll have some NFL draft reactions, an NBA playoff and Stanley Cup playoff update, and a lot of MLB news to get into. Plus, we'll have our first special guest of the year join us later on in the show. So, Chris, ready to go?
Let's do it. Let's get things rolling.
All right. Starting things off in the world of basketball, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been eliminated from the playoffs, so that means all eyes are on Russell Westbrook and what his next move is going to be. Thunder GM Sam Presti is hopeful to lock up Westbrook and sign him to a big extension. Chris, what do you think is the Brody's best option?
Well, if I'm Russ, I'm going to go into the GM's office and say, look, dude, you got to get me some playmakers because, we both watched the series against Houston, and Russell does not have the players around him that he needs. It's really sucks because he had a historical year this year, and it all just went away because he had a first-round exit in the playoffs because he was having to carry the entire team. And, he needs one more shooter and a better scoring big man. And I genuinely think if that happens, the Thunder are at the top of the West. They could contend.
But you think he's staying in OKC?
I think he stays if they go out and get some playmakers. If not,
then he's not signing an extension.
No, I think he's going to go somewhere else and go do what he wants to do, which is win a championship.
Staying on the same subject, but flipping the script a little bit, we're going to talk about another Western Conference team that was just eliminated in a Game 7, the Los Angeles Clippers. You think it's time for that group of guys to move on and take their careers elsewhere?
I think so. I know we hit on the Blake Griffin injury last week, and he's one of their key players. And if he can't stay healthy, he's one of those three core guys that they need to make them contenders. I think it's time to move on and try and revamp the team and get to a point where you can get back to contending for a title like they could a few years ago. And, it's sad that it's sad that their best bet is to split up and go on their own different ways, but that's what the organization needs to do if they want to win, which is what every organization wants to do. And if you can't win, then why keep them around? Let's move over to the MLB. On Sunday, Washington Nationals third baseman Anthony Rendon had a career day in a 23-5 demolition of the New York Mets, going 6 for 6 with 3 home runs and 10 RBI. Is this the best individual game in baseball history?
Well, certainly it was a historic day for Rendon, and the Nationals just in that beatdown of the Mets. I don't think it's the best individual game in MLB history. Rendon became the 13th player to hit at least 10 RBI in one single game. A name for you, Jim Bottomley went 6 for 6 with 2 home runs and 12 RBI, so that may be the best all-around game of all time. But nevertheless, Rendon, hats off to him. He was struggling in April, and then the last day of the month, turns it all around, 6 hits, 3 homers, 10 ribbies. Have a day, kid.
You want to know the worst part of that? He was on my fantasy bench, and I ended up losing because he was on my bench.
You're right.
It's really unfortunate. I probably will not make that mistake again. And on the other hand, the Toronto Blue Jays are off to the worst start in franchise history, and pressure is mounting on the front office. It may be time to sell the superstars and rebuild. Max, is there any chance that the Jays move their all-star third baseman Josh Donaldson?
I think it's a possibility. The Jays obviously off to their worst start in franchise history, at the bottom of the AL East currently. They didn't want to re-sign Jose Bautista in the offseason, but no other team bid, so they were forced to, spend a lot of money on him. They've got some intriguing guys that are on the roster that are locked up for a couple more years that they could move for young pieces. Marco Estrada, Francisco Liriano, Jason Grilli, all appealing arms. And then, of course, you got the bringer of rain, third baseman Josh Donaldson, who every team would want to have, maybe except for the Cubs because they got Chris Bryant over at third base. But would be an improvement for every other team. New York Mets come to mind. They're a playoff team in the hunt. That if they can improve their third baseman, Donaldson's an attractive guy for that team. Could make a team go from good to great and become a real World Series contender. Now, on the gridiron, former Kansas City Chiefs running back Jamal Charles has a new home. He's staying in the AFC West, but he's taking his talents to the Mile High City and joining the Denver Broncos. Chris, do you think this move is going to be beneficial to both sides?
I don't think it's going to be. Jamal Charles is declining. As we can see in the past 2 years, he's left both the past 2 seasons with injuries. Denver, they've got some struggles, and I don't know that Jamal Charles is the missing piece. Now, if they would have gone and gotten a younger running back, Maybe that would have helped out the Broncos, but getting Jamal Charles, I don't think solves many problems because they still got a quarterback problem, and it's the first year with Vance Joseph coaching. And I don't know how him being the head coach is going to really benefit the Broncos either. I just think overall it wasn't the best idea for these two to get together. And I think it's funny that Jamal Charles wanted to stay in the AFC West and have a chance to beat the Chiefs twice a year. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I wish the best for them both, and hopefully Jamal Charles can get back to the running back he was a few years ago.
Absolutely. Obviously, a crowded division in the West with the Chiefs and Raiders both looking good. Charles at age 30, career on the decline. I think he does get a little bit of an offensive line boost in Denver with that quarterback situation that's kind of iffy. He'll get the ball a lot, but if he can stay healthy, that's the big question.
Yeah,
we'll just have to see.
That West is going to be tough, and like I said, I don't think he provides what Denver needs to be at the top of the West. All right. Lastly, we've yet to see any further traction on the proposed fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Both sides still seem ready and willing to get in the ring, but there are some major marketing and business deal hang-ups. Is this fight ever going to happen?
Chris, your guess is as good as mine.
I really hope it happens.
I think all of us really want to see this fight because it would be unprecedented and undoubtedly the biggest event in sports, maybe any sport. Mayweather, the king of boxing, McGregor, the king of the UFC, going head-to-head. I think if they box, Mayweather's got a huge advantage. If they get in the octagon, McGregor's got a huge advantage. But either way, people are going to pay money to see these guys go at it. Big trash talkers at the top of their game. Make it happen, Dana White, Floyd. Put your money where your mouth is and let's do this thing.
Yeah, there's a reason these two guys are the best, and their trash talk definitely backs it up.
Time now for some free throws.
Got it.
And I'll start things off. My free throw this week revolves around the feud taking place between the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, we talked about it last week, the escalating tensions surrounding both of these teams after the Manny Machado slide into second base left Dustin Pedroia injured. And then Red Sox relief pitcher Matt Barnes ended up plunking Machado, which caused a lot of reactions from each side. Now, on Monday night, Adam Jones was taunted by some bleacher hecklers at Fenway Park. Some racial profanity shouted at him, some peanuts thrown at him. Absolutely no place for this in baseball. Just an absolutely disgusting event that took place. It's just human decency. There's really no place for this in sports or culture as a whole. We have seen now that this particular fan has been banned for life from Fenway Park. And another good thing that came from this, on Tuesday night, in Adam Jones' first at-bat at Fenway Park, the entire crowd stood to their feet, gave him a standing ovation. Mookie Betts, the Red Sox right fielder, even took his glove off and clapped along with the fans. However, that wasn't good enough to make Red Sox starter Chris Sale forget about these escalating tensions as he threw at Manny Machado again in the first inning, causing warnings to be issued early on in the game. Then on Wednesday night, Orioles pitcher Kevin Gausman was ejected in the second inning after hitting a batter on a 77-mile-an-hour curveball. Obviously, it wasn't intentional, but home plate umpire Sam Holbrook still felt the need to take matters into his own hands and control the game. Major League Baseball even hosted a conference call featuring the commissioner Rob Manfred, the chief of officers Joe Torre, and both managers from the Orioles and Red Sox, telling them that, hey, cool this thing down, let's just go back to playing baseball. Obviously, these two teams are going to meet again a lot more throughout the season, and they're definitely going to go at it. There's going to be more fireworks. Hopefully it's a little calmer and cooler heads will prevail, and everyone can just handle this new rivalry in a civil manner.
Yeah, I hope they can kind of fix this because I was watching the game last night when they threw out Gausman, and that was the most absurd thing I've ever seen in a baseball game. There was no malicious intent behind that ball. It was a 3-2 curveball. Like, what? At that point, what's the point of hitting him? Because he's going to get first base anyways. There's no point in hitting him. And, that umpire made some poor decisions last night.
Sure did.
All right. And a little bit of an NFL draft reaction. So as everyone knows, Myles Garrett went number 1 to the Cleveland Browns. And thankfully they did that because the quarterbacks just weren't the way to go. As we saw, the Bears traded up one spot with the 49ers to pick at number 2 for Mitchell Trubisky. And, I still question that because he's not – I don't think he was the best quarterback in the draft. Everybody wants to say, oh, he's the most pro-style type quarterback. But he started 13 games. How are you supposed to spin a high pick like that on a guy who started 13 games?
He only won 8 of them.
Right. That's mediocre. And you've got guys like Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Kaiser. I know Deshaun Kaiser didn't win very well, but he had some seasons where he played outstanding. Mahomes played pretty well at Tech, as we've watched him play twice in our college days. I don't understand why you were going to trade up to go get a quarterback who I don't think had a lot of interest going in the top 5 picks. And then, the 49ers basically just, highway robbed you for a bunch of additional picks. And, I mean, good for John Lynch and the 49ers for stealing all those picks off of him. But, I don't understand why they took him at 2. And, a bunch of other guys that went early that a lot of people didn't expect is Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. They were both projected to go late first round, and they were gone within the first 12 picks. Now, I credit Rick Smith and the Houston Texans for going up and getting Deshaun Watson because, as we all know, Brock Osweiler was horrendous last year. And you know what? Mahomes, good for Mahomes. He played great at Tech. And, as we both know, Tech is not a very strong football school, but he has a lot of potential to be a big-time quarterback in this league, and I'm excited for him. I think the Chiefs was honestly the best place for him to go with Alex Smith on his way out of the league. Not that he's regressed a large amount, but there's definitely been some signs of him, on his decline. And so, good job for both of these two guys for getting picked way ahead of where they were. And I really think this rookie class is going to be an interesting one this year in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was interesting how teams kind of threw the idea of value out the window and just went immediately after what they needed. The Bears going after a quarterback at number 2 surprised everybody. The Texans and the Chiefs each trading up above the Arizona Cardinals, who many thought were going to take a quarterback at 13 and snagging their guy at the future. Like you said, Mahomes, I love that pick for the Chiefs. I think he's going to learn from Alex Smith really well. He's got a gun on that right arm. He can throw the ball better than anybody, I think, in the draft. If they can get a couple speedster receivers, the Chiefs are going to be really good in a couple of years. Watson, love that pick for Houston. He's a proven winner. They need some guy with some consistency to take snaps down there in Houston. Good for them. And then, like you said, Myles Garrett going number 1. There's really no other option for the Cleveland Browns. And then talking about the Chicago Bears, that's a head scratcher. And being from Chicago, that one kind of hits close to home. But that's going to lead us perfectly into our next and newest segment, Call to the Bullpen. If you guys haven't seen this video, I'll tell you what, you're missing out. ESPN compiled multiple outrageous reactions to that Chicago Bears trade and draft selection of North Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky after they traded up to number 2. Some of these reactions are just downright hilarious. Take a look.
With the second pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky.
What the? Oh my God, no! No! Oh, no way! No way! Doug McDermott all over again. No, Mitchell! No! Bunch of idiots.
Joining us now via FaceTime is one of those disappointed Bears fans. It's Arizona State freshman Jack Pollard. Jack, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be on.
So, first question, where were you and who were you with on draft night?
I was sitting on the couch in my living room. I had just gotten back from school for the weekend for work. I was watching the draft. My sister had just gotten home from a workout, and my mom was cooking something in the kitchen. And they really weren't paying attention. My sister's on her phone, and then my mom was cooking. They don't really care about football. So we were just sitting in the living room watching it, and from there, everything happened.
All right. Well, Jack, take us through what was going through your mind as the Bears made that trade with the 49ers.
I was kind of shocked. At first, I was like, okay, let's see what they gave up, if it was really that much. And then when I checked Twitter and saw what they gave up, I was shocked. I really wasn't that excited because the Bears need as many draft picks as they can possibly get at this time. And I wasn't too excited, but I thought they were going to move up, thought they were going to pick someone like Jamal Adams, possibly Malik Hooker, Solomon Thomas, or even I had heard things about them possibly picking Deshaun Watson. So I would have been fine with, or somewhat fine with, all 4 of those picks. I just was not expecting Trubisky.
So ideally, who would you have liked to see the Bears pick at 3?
It was so bad watching, or so hard to watch their DB core last year. It was just pitiful. And having to watch them the whole year, I was hoping that they'd get an impact safety, someone like Jamal Adams or Hooker, just because they haven't had a playmaking safety or a corner in years. So I was hoping for one of them. I mean, it would have been nice to have another D lineman, but that's not their biggest worry right now. But yeah, I was hoping they'd pick a ball hawk.
So the trade happens. The Bears pick Trubisky. Your jaw drops. You start screaming and running around. At this point, did you know you were being recorded?
No, I had no clue. I did not know I was being recorded until about 20, 30 seconds after it happened. My sister, I looked over at her and she was just laughing hysterically while looking at her phone. And she's like, "Come here." So I went and looked at it and I was like, "Wow, I think you got something good there." She really captured how a lot of Bears fans probably felt with that pick. It was funny because when we saw that ESPN had asked for permission, it was the first video that they had responded to. And then next thing you know, 10 minutes later, we look back and there's like 10 videos of fans just reacting to the pick, and it was very funny. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it got my reaction perfectly.
So what happened right after that video stopped? Because it's only about a 10-second clip. And we understand you had a pretty interesting reaction even further.
Yeah, I started running full speed into my guest room, which you can kind of see at the end of the video. One of the doors was open, and then one of the doors was closed. And I ran through the open door and raised my hands and hit the top. And my elbow caught the door on the right side that was closed, and the force cracked the whole door. And next thing you know, my mom's yelling at me. I'm getting pissed because of the pick, and it just, for the next 5-10 minutes after that, it was not pretty.
So, in one night, you go from an upset Bears fan to a viral superstar with your video appearing on ESPN. So what's it been like with, once your family and friends saw the video?
It was awesome. I posted it on Twitter for all my friends, and then mostly family on Facebook. And not a lot of people were surprised that I was on ESPN like that, because I've always had a knack for being in the right place at the right time, meeting a lot of celebrities, getting pictures with guys. So a lot of them were just like, "Only you." And it was pretty cool. Family couldn't believe it. Aunts, uncles, grandparents were reposting, sharing it on Facebook. Couldn't believe it that I'd gotten on ESPN. I mean, SportsCenter used to be my favorite show. Anytime I'd fill out favorite TV shows on elementary school papers, instead of putting SpongeBob or something like that, I put SportsCenter. So it was pretty cool, actually being on your favorite show. I mean, I don't watch it as much anymore because it's college and all that, but it was definitely something I'll never forget.
That's
For sure,
awesome. That's really awesome.
So last question, you think this whole Trubisky thing is going to work out? You're not hopping off the Chicago bandwagon anytime soon?
Oh, no. I'll always be a Bears fan. I always find myself watching the Bears after I tell myself I'm not going to watch them. It's been a rough past 4 or 5 years being a Bears fan. There's really only been one bright spot in my life, and that still didn't really end out that well.
06.
With the Super Bowl loss to the Colts. But, I mean, I'll still watch every game. I pray that Trubisky turns out well. I've been reading up more and watching a bunch of film, and I do think with time, and if they get him some weapons at the receiving position, I think that he's going to be decent. I think he has a very high ceiling, so I hope that he reaches it. But yeah, I really hope he pans out, and I hope that Chicago fans give him a chance, especially including me. I mean, I was one of the first ones to react and ridicule the trade, but I am going to definitely give him a chance, and I hope that he proves everyone wrong.
All right, Jack. Thanks again, man. We appreciate you coming on the show. That's all we got for you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
For sure, man.
Have a good summer, bud.
All right, you too.
And now it's time for fourth down.
4th and 1 from just across midfield.
Let's give you guys a quick playoff update. In the NBA, Golden State leads the Utah Jazz 1-0, and the Spurs and Rockets are even at a game apiece in the West. Over in the East, the Celtics lead the Wizards 2-0, and the Cavs are up 2-0 on Toronto.
Got any predictions for those series, Chris?
Rockets in 5.
Of course, spoken like a true Houstonian.
Cavs in 4. I think Celtics Wizards go 6. Golden State. You know, I really want Golden State to lose, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here and go Jazz in 7.
Ridiculous. Dubs in 4.
That's outrageous. Steve Kerr's not even coaching. They don't know what to do. Mike Brown has no clue what he's doing.
We'll see. We'll just have to see. After giving my Stanley Cup playoffs predictions last week, let's take a look at how I'm faring so far. I had the Predators, Ducks, Rangers, and Penguins all advancing, and currently in the West, those Nashville Predators are up on the St. Louis Blues 3-1, while the Ducks and Oilers are tied at 2. On the other side in the East, Ottawa is up 2-1 over New York, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are up 3-1 over the Washington Capitals.
As always, we'll end our show today with a taste of Baylor. This week, it's got to be Jonathan Motley signing with an agent, officially declaring for the NBA draft. We certainly wish our friend the best of luck moving forward in his professional career. Can't wait to see him playing in the league, even though we do need an intramural quarterback for next year. He did kind of throw us out on, he kind of just threw us out right there.
Don't tell Scott Drew.
No, Scott already knows, man. What's done is done. But Mott, we wish you the best of luck, and, go eat.
Well, guys, that's going to do it here on BNC Sports Network. Episode 3 in the books. Our thanks once again go out to Jack Pollard for being our special guest on today's show. If you guys have any ideas or topics you'd like to see us discuss, be sure to send us a tweet at BNC Sportsnet or send us a message on Instagram.
Yeah, guys, come on, seriously. Our social media accounts are pretty dry. It'd be great if we got some fan interaction.
You guys can even email us at bncsportsnetwork@gmail.com.
This is for those of you who don't want to slide into our DMs.
We'd love to feature some of your questions next week, as our video is set to drop Friday, May 12th. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below to like this video, and also subscribe to our channel to be the first ones notified when a new video goes up. Thanks again for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I'm Chris Beasley.
I'm Max Calderon, signing off here on BNC Sports Network.